When you're standing in a turn row in late April and the wind is whipping off a damp field, you aren't thinking about glossy brochures or polished marketing videos. You're looking at a window of time that's closing faster than you'd like. In high-hour service, I've seen the reality. Iron is either a profit tool or lunch-eating liability when the sun drops. The John Deere 8RX 540 is a big machine. But for the guy who has to sign the notes, it's really just a high-speed delivery system for seed and chemicals. Everything on this machine, from the JD14 engine to the tracks, has to be viewed through the lens of cost per acre and uptime. If it isn't making the planting window wider or the yield higher, it's just expensive paint. Ownership starts deep in the block of this 13.6-liter JD14. For years, we leaned on the 13.5, but this new design tells you exactly where Deere is heading. They went to a simplified gear train and moved away from variable geometry turbochargers, which used to be a common failure point in high dust environments. In real Midwest seasons, complexity is the enemy. When you're pushing 3,500 acres, you don't want a turbo with moving vanes that can carbon up, or a sensor that's going to derate you in the middle of a 20-hour push. This engine is rated at 540 horsepower, but with intelligent power management, it'll unlock up to 634. That overhead keeps you at 10 miles per hour with a 24-row high-speed rig, even while pulling a 1,000-gallon liquid tank on the tractor and another on the planter. In the past, you'd feel the engine groan and the ground speed drop the second you hit a 3% grade. Now, the electronics sense that draft load and the IPM kicks in. It keeps your meters spinning and your depth consistent. If your ground speed fluctuates, your seed spacing fluctuates, and that's a direct hit to your potential yield. Last spring outside Peoria, we were running a 24-row planter into a rolling field that always gave us trouble. In previous years, you could watch the monitor as the ground speed dipped climbing that slope, 9.8, 9.4, sometimes 9.1 miles per hour. You'd see the spacing variance spike. This year with the 540, it held 10 miles per hour steady all the way up. That's the kind of difference you don't see on a spec sheet. But you see it in the stand count 2 weeks later. Moving to a larger displacement engine that isn't working at 100% capacity is a massive win for the depreciation curve. When you trade this machine in at 3,000 hours, a JD14 that spent its life at 75% load is a lot more attractive than a smaller block that was screaming for its life every day. The way air and fuel are managed here is all about thermal efficiency. They've integrated the cooling package to minimize the parasitic draw from the fan. On old-school iron, you could hear that fan engage and feel the horsepower drop. On the 8RX 540, the hydraulic fan drive is smart enough to pull only what it needs. Every horsepower moving air is a horsepower not pulling the bar. Heat kills performance. During those long field days when the dirt is flying, the cooling stacks have to work overtime. In the 8RX, they've spaced out the coolers to make them easier to blow out. That is a practical field reality. If you can't clean your cooling stack in 5 minutes with a leaf blower, you're going to let it go another day. That's when sensors start tripping and your oil life starts degrading. High heat breaks down hydraulic oil and shortens the life of your O-rings and seals. By keeping the operating temperature stable, Deere is protecting the expensive components underneath. The real story with the 8RX 540 isn't just the engine, it's the electric variable transmission, or the EVT. The EVT ditches hydrostats for electric motors. And that is a massive shift in power delivery. For the guy in the seat, it feels smooth, no shifts. Just a continuous pull from 0 to transport speed. But for the guy looking at the balance sheet, the EVT represents a leap in labor efficiency. It's about the 15 kilowatts of electric power it can generate and send to the implement. Think about what that does for a planter. Instead of relying on hydraulic pumps to run every vacuum motor and downforce cylinder, you're offloading that work to electric motors. Hydraulics generate a ton of heat and require a lot of maintenance. Hoses rub, fittings leak, and pumps wear out. Wires don't leak, hoses do. By using that 56-volt system to power the planter, you're reducing the load on the tractor's hydraulic system. This means less heat in the oil and better fuel economy. It also allows for much finer control of seed meters. We're talking about sub-inch accuracy at 10 miles per hour. If you can eliminate 1% of your seed overlap across 5,000 acres, you've just paid for a significant chunk of the tractor's annual note in seed savings alone. The 8RX frame itself is a specialized tool. It's a narrow fixed frame, which is the key distinction when you compare it to an articulated beast like a stiger. In a row crop application, an articulated tractor can be a nightmare for berming at the headlands and staying on the row. The 8RX gives you the footprint of a crawler with the maneuverability of a wheeled tractor. With 4 independent tracks, you have 14 psi of ground pressure. Compare that to a wheeled tractor that might be pushing 25 or 30. In the Midwest, compaction kills yield silently. Do everything right, but if you pack that soil during planting, those roots are dead on arrival. The 8RX spreads that weight out so effectively that the pinch row effect is almost eliminated. Even emergence across the bar. That's the payoff. It isn't just about not getting stuck in a wet spring, it's about protecting the soil structure for the entire growing season. Look, those 4 tracks have their own mechanical tacks. As a mechanic, I look at those mid-rollers and the drive lugs. Rubber tracks are a wear item, and they aren't cheap. I've seen guys treat those tracks like they're indestructible. They're not. If you're doing a lot of roading between farms, you're building up heat in that rubber. Heat is the enemy of track life. If an operator is pinning it at 26 miles per hour on hot asphalt for 20 miles, they're burning through the life of those belts. This is where training hits the bottom line. You have to manage your transport speeds to protect your resale value. A set of worn-out belts at 1,500 hours can shave $30,000 off the trade-in value instantly. The 8RX is also heavier than a standard 8R, which means the axles and the final drives are beefed up to handle that torque. In long-run ownership, you're looking at more grease points and more seals to monitor. That's the trade-off for the traction and flotation you're getting. Inside the cab, the focus shifts to the operator, which is really a discussion about labor. In today's market, finding a guy who can stay focused for 16 hours a day is getting harder and more expensive. The cab environment is designed to reduce fatigue. Because a tired operator is a liability, they miss the warning signs of a plugged row or a failing bearing. The visibility in the 8RX is top tier because you don't have huge tires blocking your view of the row units. The G5 Plus display integrates your mapping, prescription rates, and AutoTrack into one spot. This reduces the cognitive load on the driver. If the technology makes the job easier, you can hire a less experienced hand and still get professional results. Or, you can keep your best guy from burning out by week 3 of a tough season. Labor efficiency isn't just about the hourly wage, it's about the quality of the work being done at 2 a.m. Downtime risk is the one thing that keeps me up at night. Because when the weather finally lines up and the field is fit, that machine doesn't get a second chance. The 540 is miles of wire and écus. Out there, dust and vibration happen. If a $50 sensor on the CAN bus fails, it can park a $700,000 tractor just as fast as a thrown rod. Nothing makes a long day feel longer than watching perfect planting weather go to waste over a warning light. 2 springs ago, we had a planter sitting because of a failed pressure sensor that cost less than a tank of death. The tractor was perfectly fine mechanically, but it wouldn't let the operator proceed. That's the reality of modern iron. You're not just maintaining steel anymore. You're maintaining signal integrity. The upside is the remote diagnostics. I can log in from my service truck and see exactly what code the machine is throwing. Often, I can tell the farmer how to bypass a non-critical issue, or ensure I have the right part before I drive an hour to the field. This predictive maintenance is what keeps the field performance consistent. We're moving away from fixing what's broken to replacing it before it breaks. If the telematics show a fuel pump pressure drop, we can swap it on a rainy Tuesday rather than on a sunny Thursday. That's how you buy back your weather window. When you look at the comparison to a Stiger 620, it's really about the job description. The Stiger is built for raw, heavy tillage where you just need sheer mass and traction. The 8RX 540 is built for precision row crop work. It's for the guy who is running exact emerge at high speeds and needs the tractor to be an extension of the planter. The 8RX is more nimble, easier to transport on narrow bridges, and offers better visibility. You're paying for the sophistication, not just the iron. The long-term ownership math on an 8RX 540 is a bit of a balancing act. The initial purchase price is high, and the depreciation curve can be steep. However, you have to look at the total cost of ownership per bushel. If the 8RX allows you to finish your planting 5 days earlier because of the traction and the speed, and those 5 days equate to a 5% yield increase because you hit the ideal pollination window, the tractor has paid for itself. None of that math means much if basic maintenance gets ignored, but the potential is there. Bottom line, this rig forces a mindset shift. You're not a driver, you're a fleet manager and a data analyst. You're managing mechanical stress, thermal load, and electronic flow. When everything is set up right, when the filters are clean and the software is updated, this tractor moves the numbers. It's about taking control of the variables that usually control us. Weather, labor, and soil health are the biggest risks in any ag business. The 8RX 540 is designed to mitigate those risks by being faster, smarter, and easier on the dirt. It's not about the new tractor smell. It's about the peace of mind that comes from knowing you have the best tool for the most critical weeks of the year. When you're pushing through those 3,500 acres and the sun is dipping below the horizon, you'll be glad you've got a machine that understands the value of every minute and every seed.